Hey everyone, and thanks for jumping back into the cryptoverse. Today we're going to talk about Ethereum, remaining cautious. If you guys like the content, make sure you subscribe to the channel, give the video a thumbs up, and also check out the Telegram channel, which you can find a link to in the description below. Remember, the sale on the premium list is going to end tomorrow, so if you've been waiting to lock in the lower rate, you can do that before the end of the day tomorrow. Let's go ahead and jump in. So again, here we are with Ethereum. Nothing much has changed, okay? But we want to keep with this move every step of the way. Because what we've said for the last several months is that we should expect Ethereum to have a summer lull in the market, okay? I fully expect the market, I fully expect Ethereum to have sort of a lull here. I mean, that's not a bad thing, right? It's not a bad thing. Remember, Ethereum has gone from around $100 to $4,400, back down to $2,400. It's okay for us to spend some time trying to get accustomed to whatever the new normal is. We have not yet definitively built out a new base, okay? We've been moving up, and we have not consequentially spent any time, at a single price. The main last time we sort of were moving sideways for a while was back over here in February through, say, the end of March. And this was when we were more or less between like 1,400 and 2K. And since then, we moved up really quickly and then back to the 20-week SMA. Now, remember, the 20-week SMA is important because this is where we have held as support in the past, okay? This is where Ethereum has held support several times in a bull market. There was one time, though, where we fell below. Similarly, there was a time with Bitcoin back in 2013, when itself fell below the 20-week SMA. Okay, remember right here, after this first peak, it fell below it briefly. So the 20-week is not something that can't be broken. It's not that it can't be broken. It's just that the market sentiment changes. Okay, the market sentiment changes. It's the same way that market sentiment changed when Bitcoin fell below the 20-week SMA. I mean, the entire sentiment of the whole market is completely different. How many altcoins are putting in new all-time highs? Not very many. Okay, how many coins are going on these crazy moves in a single day? Not very many. Why? Well, Bitcoin's below the 20-week, and again, as I've said before, we're still playing in the sandbox down here. Nothing consequential has happened. Now, if you go back and look at Ethereum, remember, the data suggests that buying in the summer doesn't tend to yield the best 90-day ROI. Now, a lot of times when I show that chart, which I don't even have up for this presentation, but they say, well, doesn't that mean it's a good time to buy in the summer? Well, the chart is showing what your return would be in 90 days. So on average, again, this is just an average here. On average, your ROI is around 1, buying in June, July, and August, and then selling 3 months later. So that basically means, well, if it's the lowest in the summer, does that mean it's the best time to buy? Well, it could be. But based on the historical data, it just basically means, if you're buying Ethereum now, there is a decent chance that in 90 days, you basically can pick it up for more or less the same price. This is on average. Of course, any given day, it's going to be hard to say. Now, each cycle is different, but these averages are over the last 6 years. And I think when you look at it in the context of what has happened, it makes sense. This is why every time we go into Q4 with the Ether Bitcoin valuation, we're always like, okay, well, we know Ethereum tends to do well against Bitcoin in Q1. Here, look at this. In January, it moved up after a Q4 bleed. Here in 2016, Q4 bleed up in the next quarter. Here again, Q4 bleed. And then this started moving up here in late December and even going into January. Again, right here, we had a nice little move that started in late December, mid-December, but still continued into January. And then here again, we had a Q4 bleed against Bitcoin, a nice move in the first quarter. And then yet again, another Q4 bleed right here. And then we had an explosive move in the first quarter and then the second quarter. Some of the times when you look at Ethereum, the move can extend out to the second quarter, okay? This one extended till March, but then we had a sort of another peak here in May. This one over here, a year later, we had a March one, and then the second one took us all the way up into June, but it actually was higher than the first peak. But you can see that these fairly strong moves by Ethereum can remain relatively strong through Q2. The reason why I think that it makes sense to have a summer lull in the market is because Ethereum has had a fairly impressive move over the last year. And also against Bitcoin, it's done relatively well too. So my point is, I have my Ethereum either way. If Ethereum wants to go up and go to higher valuations against Bitcoin, hey, I'm ready for it. But I think we also need to recognize that there is a non-negligible chance that we don't immediately shoot up. Okay, I mean, there's been plenty of times where around this time of the year the Ethereum Bitcoin valuation starts to look a little bit weak. Okay, does it happen every year? No. I mean, in fact, if you look at 2020, we actually were just getting kicked off. But you have to take into account what had happened in the previous few months. I mean, when Ethereum went on this move here in July, I mean, a lot of people probably remember this move. It was super crazy for Ethereum, and then now look at what it did to outperform this move. This wasn't really that impressive. However, this is really impressive, and so I'm wondering, I sincerely wonder if Ethereum can actually, does it have the gas, so to speak, to actually move up to this level in the short term? My guess is probably not. Okay, now, can I be wrong about things? Yes, I can. I definitely can be wrong about things, but I would say it's more likely than not that Ethereum is unable to go to, say, new all-time highs, at least against the US dollar. Against Bitcoin, it's a little bit murkier because it will obviously also depend on what Bitcoin does. Again, against the US dollar, I do not see any new, I don't see any immediate all-time highs in the next several weeks, okay? We're in a consolidation phase right now. Now, the question is, well, can Ethereum break down below the 20-week? And of course, we know the answer. The answer is yes, because it did it in the last cycle, okay? Sometimes I think people get sort of confused between what's a bull market, what's a market cycle. You could argue that this is a year, right? I mean, this is a year here. It's hard to call it a bull market when it's basically just going sideways for a year, from February of 2016 until February 2017. And in that time, there was a 70% drop. So with that in mind, I mean, maybe it makes more sense to talk about cycles rather than what is definitely a bull market, because it's somewhat subjective over what is a bull market, what is a bear market. If you just take the 20-week SMA, Ethereum still is really bullish. I mean, it's still above it, right? I mean, the 20-week SMA is at $2,200. The 21-week EMA is at $2,169. So right now, Ethereum's still above it. My main concern is that Bitcoin is still well below its 20-week SMA. And if Bitcoin gets hammered again, like if it goes back to 30K, it's going to be harder and harder for Ethereum to hold the line up here. So this is why I think it makes sense that Ethereum is remaining cautious, because with a bearish Bitcoin, okay, with Bitcoin being well below the 20-week, I mean, it's not just below it. Bitcoin is 26% below it. Okay, so with Bitcoin looking a little bit bearish compared to where it was a few months ago, I'm not as optimistic in the short term about Ethereum putting in new all-time highs. Okay, we just got to say the facts. And this is just the data. I base it off the data. I don't base it on my opinion, or my emotions. Of course, it'd be nice if Ethereum could go to $5,000 next week. I'm just saying it's unlikely to happen. It's unlikely to happen. And even if Bitcoin were to break through, I don't think it's clear that Ethereum would immediately go to new all-time highs. I mean, I think that Bitcoin has a long way to go before the market can convincingly look bullish as a whole. Okay, so with Ethereum, again, I feel like we're in some type of consolidation phase. Could we go below the 20-week? Of course we could. Right now, we're not even that far above it. I think what's ultimately going to dictate whether Ethereum holds this is whether Bitcoin holds this, okay? So if Bitcoin's holding this, then there's a good chance that Ethereum is holding this, the 20-week SMA. If Bitcoin continues to just, come back down and get hammered over and over and over, then again, it's going to make it a lot less likely that Ethereum holds the 20-week SMA. But remember, even if it doesn't hold it, that doesn't mean that it's, the end of the cycle. I mean, we could have a period where it becomes just a better buy for a while before you gear up for hopefully a move to 5 figures later this cycle. Remember, last cycle, there was a period where it went below the 20-week SMA for about 3 months or so. So as we continue to navigate this cycle, I would say Ethereum is for the time being, will continue to remain relatively cautious until there's a bit more direction from Bitcoin. The Ethereum Bitcoin valuation is it looks like it could be changing course, but I think it's too early to say. If it does go up, which is what I know a lot of you guys want, then we're gonna, we'll of course try to figure out, well, how high can it realistically go? But I would say let's hold off on making these types of projections, because if history is any indication with Bitcoin below the 20-week, there's a higher probability, at least, that Ethereum is not going to make any substantial moves against Bitcoin in the short term. If you guys like the content, make sure you subscribe to the channel, give the video a thumbs up, and also check out the Telegram channel, which you can find a link to in the description below. Remember to check out the sale on the premium list. It will end at the end of the day tomorrow, so you guys can lock in the lower rate. You'll get access to weekly reports and videos, the Telegram alerts channel, the Telegram chat room, the risk dashboard, the Into the Cryptoverse app, and more. If you want to get a sneak peek as to what's inside, just go to intothecryptoverse.com. There's a video, several minute video that shows you what's part of the premium list. Thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure you subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye.